Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome to another raid shout out this video. Guys, we are on the free to play account today. I want to showcase the team to you guys. If you're still having issues with Spider 20 or any of the Spider levels up until 20, because after 20, there's 21 to 25 where special rules and additional passives are applied, which makes things way trickier. This one's another, I want to say, cheese method. It does use a champion that was used in the past, but because of how he worked, you couldn't really use this champion specifically because of his AI. But now with the AI change, we can finally have this champion ready to go, and it's the one and only Gnarlhorn. Look at the gear that he has on right now and the level that he's on. Not ascended, level 30, so that's the minimum when you level up a Gnarlhorn. He only has one item on, and that's a speed boot without any levels on it, so it's just a 5-speed speed boot. That's all. That's what you need for this guy to work. The remaining team can work with champions that you get throughout your you just playing an account, but except for one champion. One of them is a very specific void. It's not Paragon. I know that I make a lot of videos with Paragon. The other champion that you do need for this to work is unfortunately Painkeeper. Painkeeper is a champion that you can get. She's a rare champion, much easier to get than other champions, of course. She definitely is a key part for the Man-Eater Painkeeper team. She works for that certain role for my account, for this account specifically, the free-to-play account. But I changed nothing on her to make this work. I just have her in there so that she can reduce the cooldowns on Gnarlhorn's unkillable. So the reason that Gnarlhorn is such a good champion for this cheese method is because he does have a determined skill. That's what it's called. Places an unkillable buff on this champion for 2 turns, 3 turn cooldown. So it's a 2 turn duration, 3 turn cooldown. That's the unfortunate thing about it. And if you guys have tried to do these kinds of teams in the past, and you know that this is a big issue, because if you have a buff that's under the duration of the cooldown, so if it's like a 2 turn duration, 3 turn cooldown, then you cannot match it, especially in Spider, because of the small spiderlings. It's not like you can tune with the boss. I mean, if it was just the boss, then maybe you could tune it, make Gnarlhorn extremely fast so he takes 3 turns for every 2 turns that the boss takes, for example, something like that. So you can actually rotate with the unkillable. No, that's not how it works, because the small spiderlings take so many turns in between each of the boss's turns. You just cannot control them, and you cannot effectively have this without a champion that reduces cooldowns, and that's where Painkeeper comes in. She reduces cooldowns and makes things way easier because of her cooldown. It's on a 4 turn cooldown, reduces the skills cooldown by 1 turn, and that's why I have Gnarlhorn so slow. He's so extremely slow that if I don't use the next champion in this kind of team, then this won't work. So if you see the speed that he's on right now, he's at a cool 101 speed. So what we do need for Gnarlhorn to go before the small spiderlings is we need a champion that gives a speed aura and a speed boost and a Terminator boost as well. And the one and only Haikatoon is the next one in this team. Haikatoon does wonders to help Gnarlhorn get to that 150 speed with her speed lead and then her speed boost. So there it is. There's my Haikatoon. The speeds are a bit fast, I would say, for a budget kind of team. So 235. These are a bit fast. She does have accuracy. I wanted her to have some accuracy, so she reduces the Terminator of the big spider, and she also applies her speed down on her first skill. So we do need that 30% chance to put that decreased speed. This helps a lot with the boss and him getting a turn. And then this one decreases the Terminator of the enemy at a 75% chance. The cooldown is still long at a 5 turn cooldown, but I'm fine with that. And then the speed boosting, a 3 turn cooldown, fills the Terminator and also increased speed buff on all allies. So this works wonders. She does have masteries, but it's just the accuracy mastery, nothing too crazy. Yeah, Gnarlhorn doesn't have masteries at all, nothing. I only try to book him for his A3, which is unfortunate. I wanted to do this on my main account so I don't waste resources on the free-to-play, but it doesn't really work when you have a leveled up Gnarlhorn to 60. I tried it without any gear on the Gnarlhorn, and the AI of the spiderlings didn't work on a level 60 Gnarlhorn. So if you've got a level 50, then it might work, but you need to remove all gear, as I did here on this one. And I also don't have the Great Hall here to give me additional stats that might mess things up. But yeah, it definitely works way easier if you've got just a 3-star hanging around and you having issues with the spider for some reason. Then you can definitely use this team. And then finally, the other 2 champions, you guys know which champions I'm gonna be using. You know, it's spider 20. You know which champions I'll be using. I'll just scroll here and just wait for you guys to put it down in the comments. And yes, it's Armigers. I didn't gear them specifically for this. I just have them with the gear that I have already. 187 speed, 100% crit, barely any critical damage, 240 accuracy, and the health points don't really matter because the Gnarlhorn has such a low health that it doesn't really matter. Masteries, my one Armiger at level 50 doesn't have any tier 6 masteries, of course. The other Armiger does have masteries. He does have only War Master there. It does give you some additional damage. He has about the same stats as the other Armiger, 200 speed, 100% crit, barely any critical damage, 252 accuracy. These are all free-to-play achievable stats, to be honest, and it's a free-to-play account, so you can't say otherwise on this one. Definitely very easy stats to acquire. I would say that the hardest thing about this combo is actually getting Painkeeper. Unfortunately, this is a must champion. There's other champions that reduce the cooldowns of your team, but Painkeeper is the cheapest of them in terms of the options available. There's no other champions that do this as good as Painkeeper would with the, I mean, she does need books, but she's a rare, so it's way easier, and many people have her already because of Maneater, but not many have the issue with Spider 20 anymore. So let's go and see the team and how this works. So we go in the Spider's Den. I'll go all the way to 20. Just please note, guys, if you're trying to do this on a weak affinity for the green one, so for Armiger, or for Haikatoon, so the blue affinity, you're gonna have issues with landing your decrease of turn meter. So that's gonna be a pain for you to pass through. Other than that, I think the team should be able to do any of the stages below 20 the same way that it does 20, except for the blue stages. So the blue stages are going to be an issue because of the weak hits. That's it. So this is the team, guys. Look at it. 2 Armigers, Gnarlhorn there, and Haikatoon in the lead. Oh, cancel. And then Painkeeper. So the thing you've got to note about this is that it's a full auto only because of the new AI skill rotation thing that we have. So you need to go in there and set things up properly. So Haikatoon, you don't need to set anything up because she is fine the way that her AI works. The same thing for Armigers. They do use a smart way to do their A1s, reduce the turn meter, and the A2s to do some big damage on the enemies. And then next up, we are following up with Painkeeper. So Painkeeper, I don't need the healing at all. I don't need the healing at all at this situation, at this team. So what I'm doing is I've got Spectacular Sweep disabled. So I don't want her to be using that A2 at all throughout the fight. And I actually want her to start up with the A1 instead of the A3. The reason is because she's so much faster than Gnarlhorn, she needs to take first a turn, which she would normally do combat tactics. I don't want her to do this. I want her to do her A1 so that Gnarlhorn uses his unkillable, and then she goes in there and reduces it by 1 turn the cooldown. So it essentially becomes a 2-turn cooldown with a 2-turn duration. That's how this works, okay? And for Gnarlhorn, of course, I disabled his A2, which does the provoke, and have determined as the normal way for him to cast it. It doesn't really matter. He's going to cast it whenever it's available, so he keeps his unkillable on himself. And that's how this team works. So that's enough said. Let's go in the Spider and see this team in action. So going into the Spider dungeon, this is all AI, full auto. You don't need to worry anything about this. You're going to see the rotation working as it's supposed to. Speed boosting going on. There's Painkeeper getting her A1. And that's what you need, basically. You need the A1 to go. The Armigers will do their A2s. There's the unkillable from Gnarlhorn. And he's going to get attacked by the Spiderlings. They hit him for about 18,000, which is more than double his health. And they keep on attacking him because he's so much lower health than everybody else. And now the combination of the speed boosting from Haikatoon, the speed aura, and the speed buff helps that the Gnarlhorn get from 101 speed to 151, which is enough for him to go before the Spiderlings. And that's how the rotation goes. And this will go all the way until the end for the spider to die. So the real important thing is, right when Gnarlhorn manages to get a turn, he refreshes his A3, his unkillable, and that's how it works. It works the same concept as the Paragon cheese, but instead you're using additional champions because Paragon has that in his own kit, the 2-turn duration buff with the 2-turn cooldown. So instead we build this with a champion that pretty much everybody can get, except for Painkeeper, of course. But this, I think this is a more stable team than the one with Paragon and the Armigers, because the one that I just mentioned, the Paragon and Armigers, I did a video before. It's called the 2021 Paragon 4 Armigers video. That one can actually fail, and there's a lot of testing needed. Well, this one, if you just beat Gnarlhorn as slow as possible, as long as he gets to 151 with the buffs from High Katoon, then the team can just go in there and just kill the spider. Well, this is the team, guys. I'll let you watch the remaining of the fight. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and guys, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.